Hello and welcome to this video. So here we want to talk about how to set up the system the first time. So we've installed a system the first time and we need to set it up such that it understands what we do. So yeah, we go to the settings side of the system and we want to first of all add a few things. So we go and tell the system the kind of policies we have. That's the first thing we can do. So if we are running a particular product, usually you're running a number of portfolios. So it could be policy portfolio, whatever name you call it. So you want to introduce them to the system so that when a client sign up for such a portfolio, you can say, yes, this client is signing up for this particular one, all right? Let's say, let me name something. Let's say I'm going to call something investment fund uh, multiplier. Let's say this is a product name that we have. So we just set this product up. This as simple as that. We have it here. Assuming we made a mistake in there, then we can go. I think there is. We can go and manage it. Yeah, we can go to the manage side, and we can either edit the name when we select the policy we are interested in, or so if the name you typed it wrong, we just come here, we pick, we type the correct name, and that will replace whatever is here when we edit. We can enable this policy. By default it is enabled when you add it, but when there's a problem you can disable it when you no longer are running this policy. So this is basically how okay, this is how to introduce the policy and how to manage the policy. Okay, so that's the first part of the settings we're talking about. So now let's go here again and we can see that there's something else we can do. We can add a new user. So these are system users, people who can log on to the system and do some activities. We have to decide which activities they can do in the system. So that's the whole idea here. So the person will create the account, then the group we add them to, they can now do things the group can do. They inherit the rights of the group. That's basically all there is to do here. But before we do that, then it means we need to create these groups. We need to know how to create these groups, right? This one, the supervisor group, it, it comes with a system by default. There's a supervisor. Okay, so these other ones you can create like account, sales, tellers, whatever. So you can create them, right? So let's see how to create them in the system. So you come here, add again. That's the user group. So let me create a group. I call it, let's say, teller or tellers, whatever name. Okay, so I say there's a group called tellers. Now what it means is that I can when I go to a new user, I can create a user and assign that user to the group called teller. So that's the whole idea here. So the person, this is the full name, this is the login account, and this is a password. They type the password again. So that's how you create a new user. But now, one other thing we've not answered about this teller is that we don't know the kind of rights they have in the system, what they can do and what they can't do, right? So let's handle that one as well. So let's come here, then there is an option to set something here, and you have user rights, right? Okay, so now you come here and select the group you're interested in. These three are the most important one here. Accounts, you can ignore it, but you can come to these forms. When you come to forms, these are the forms in the system. So any form that you want that person to be able to open and use it to save data, you add to that group. eh? So basically, if you're a teller, we don't want you to be able to, we don't want to give you the right to create a new agent, but you can create a new client. can create a new savings and loans client. You can add a policy, you can add a user, not a project, payment, no, asset payment, no. That's okay. Bounce checks, no. We could leave it for a different group, right? Then change login information. That one we can also leave that one out. So basically, a teller can do customer payments. When someone pay, they can record that this person paid. A teller maybe can debit someone's account. Cannot. Maybe they should be able to debit, like charge customers and all of that. So you decide basically whether they can debit a loan account, that is charge a loan account or not. When it comes to things like delete, these are sensitive. You want someone with a higher right to be able to do that, so you can leave them out. Okay, so basically they can see this notice on loan repayment and all of that. So you just read, these are user friendly names. You decide whichever fits, whichever you want to give this group. Like they can say, like they can record special credit, like uh, deposit. When someone deposit money into the account, they can do that and all of that. So repayment, yes, they should be able to do new loan policy, maybe yes, maybe yes, depending on what you want. Okay, so let's say these are the rights they have, this group. So these are the forms they can open. Now let's move on to the reports they can see. So these are the reports in the system. They can see maybe active clients. Maybe let's move to inactive clients, so that maybe they can call them and find out why they are not active. Maybe you want them to see uh, agents, clients, agent list, not necessary. Birthday report. Basically, you go through this and you decide which reports they can access. So let's say for me, I can add this. So you are done. At this stage, you just save it. You say assign. And what it means is that anyone that is added to this group now can do all of these things. And we can test this. We can test this if you want to. But let's finish up. So now it means we can create a system user and select a teller, and this person can have these rights which we spoke about. Okay, so I'll come back to that, but let me add a few things. When we spoke about a policy, uh, we didn't talk about this part where you can set policy interest rate. Basically, you are setting up an interest rate. This what you give your client. You give a client based on what you call it, for what they earn. If I'm running this policy, basically if I'm a member of this plan, what's my interest rate? What do I get as interest rate from you at the end of a year? So this per annum, annual interest rate. So this is what that is if you give interest. If you don't, you can put a zero in there and that will be fine. So let's say let me do 15 for this one, for instance. Okay, so yeah, so that's how you basically set up the system. There are a few things here. You can change your login. That's you are logged in as a user. You can change your username and password if you think someone else knows that information. And so you enter the existing username here, the existing password, and you select your account type. Then you come in here and you say this is the new username I want to use and this is the new password I want to use. Then you click change. So that's basically how you set up the system for the first time. Things like export, we talk about it later. This is when we are dealing with branches, how to pull branch data into our current data. So those will be handled a bit later. And with the manage, we spoke about being able to change a policy's name. We What we didn't talk about is the other things you can do, enable and disable. I think we did that, so that is covered. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is basically what you do the first time you install the system. So this is done once, and uh, when something changes, like let's say when the interest rate for a policy, you update it, then you come here to say you want to change that information, right? You want to manage, you want to set a new whatever. When you have a group and you want to edit the right of the group, then you can come here and say this group, this how the right should be. Okay, so I'll end by adding a user and using that user to log in. So I'm creating a user, let's say Amma, let me use small. Okay, full name, it doesn't matter. The password, I want to use something simple. The username, the username is this. Type in 123. Don't worry, you see just zeros. It's just to disguise whatever you're typing so that other people don't see it. I'm typing again 123. Okay, so now I say this group, uh, this person is a teller. So I add and I'm done. I'm doing this with a supervisor account. So now I can log off, or I can close this thing out here, then try to open it again. Let me see, where am I opening this from? Okay, let me open this thing again. Try to log in as Amma with the password 123. Then select a taillight from here. I'm logged in, so this user is created. Okay, now this user, a lot of things they can't do. These are disabled because we do not add those to them, right? So things, they can't do anything here, they can't do anything here too. You can't click on any of these ones. Again, there's nothing showing up here. Yeah, but they can do some other things. Like when I come here, I see new client, they can add a new client. So I see this kind of things here. So basically, the things you gave them right to do, those one they can, but the things you did not give them access to, they can't. Okay, so that's basically a setup part of this system. Next, we'll talk about how to set up agents in the system. Okay, thank you. I'll move on to the next video.